Yes, I just woke up. I sleep in because I play games all night. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Today I've got some horrible news. Hytale's been canceled. This isn't a joke. It's actually done. I'll go into a bit more detail about the game, the hype, and honestly, why we could kind of read the writing on the walls, and this isn't really that much of a surprise to me. But I thought first and foremost, we should go through the actual post right here. It's an interesting post because this first part, they kind of just sound like an indie studio where they're basically saying that their vision got way too big. You know, their eyes were too big for their stomach, as so to say. This is usually where a publisher comes in to kind of rein developers in and tell them like, no, you have to have a realistic timeline and scope. But they do go on to talk about that as well. Unfortunately, they say that each of those options would have meant compromising Hytale's what's special about Hytale in the first place. Bro, you can give us a basic ass game like Minecraft and people would have just ate it up. We don't have solid Minecraft competition. They should just release it open source and just give it to us. But now Riot owns it, so blah, 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 blah. They go on to say thanks to Hytale and thanks to our community, which, believe it or not, there are regular content creators that would cover this unreleased game. That's how bad YouTube's gotten. But let's take a moment to recap what Hytale was to a lot of us, because so many people in this day and age probably have no idea what this game is. Well, there was this Hytale announcement trailer, and this has 61 million views and was posted 6 years ago. It's basically an amazing showcase where the developers did end up clarifying that all of this was basically smoke and mirrors. As we've seen with time, this was all kind of fake, or more so, it was more so to sell the idea to investors, which is exactly what happened, because then Riot Games ended up buying them up, which kind of solidified their financing, meaning that they could have totally ended up delivering at least something, even if very bare bones, because I think that the developers take for granted the actual environment of Minecraft type games, which is not very good. But it was continually disconcerting over the years of the various blog posts that other YouTubers would speculate on and deep dive into. I altogether just stopped making videos highlighting these blog posts because they had nothing new to say. Essentially what ended up happening is, as they ended up getting grabbed by Riot Games, Riot forced them to start developing a new game engine, which is something that takes roughly 5 to 6 years of development time. But by my count, I think they've only been working with the new game engine for maybe 4 years or 3. It really depends when the announcement was that they started actually working on the new game engine. The point being is them canceling it kind of pisses me off, because they're saying that they couldn't reach their ambition, but as far as I'm concerned, they didn't reach anything. Part of me thinks, oh, okay, based on this blog post, it sounds like they just gave up. But frankly speaking, I think Riot Games just saw that it was just them fumbling around and thought, no. Again, that's just speculation though. The point is, making a video game is very hard. And while I do give my respect to the Hytale developers and wish to God that they would just release what they have right now, the fact still remains that most of the more recent blog posts was basically them struggling with getting the game to work in the new game engine. Originally, they were going to develop the game with Java, which totally makes sense because this is the Hypixel team. They know Java. But when Riot forced them to bring it to a new game engine so that it could immediately be cross-play and have better communication between the consoles, I actually thought that was a great idea. But we have to consider the facts, and Hytale doesn't know how to make games. They know how to make incredible Minecraft content and mods, but as far as making a video game, this was their first ever. And so it totally makes sense that this project would unfortunately come to an untimely end. The irony is the more recent blog post that was just in March of this year talked about testers. For me personally, I'm most of all frustrated that all of that hard work is just gonna go into the recycle bin because it's technically owned under Riot Games now. It's not very common for a big time company to be able to just release all of their products' work. And I'm not saying Hytale was even in a state that was playable, but the fact still remains, all they really needed was good combat, bunch of dungeons that maybe even the community could have made, and then a bunch of loot. How overly ambitious did these guys get? But yeah, I'm not gonna act like this doesn't sting, because this is probably one of the big games that I was hyped for and kind of just silently waiting for in the background. I'm frustrated and I want someone to blame, but at the end of the day, it's just the name of the beast. I think the most anecdotal situation that I can say with regards to Hytale is that this game gets canceled and Mind's Eye doesn't.